Good morning, family. Today, I want to express to you to not give a rip about what other people think and believe. Why? Because you get what you expect every single time. Do you want what other people expect or believe, or do you want what you want? The universe, or infinite potential, or your inner being, or who you really are, unconditional love, source energy, does not see consensus, and it does not see statistic. It only sees vibrational offering from each individual extension of source consciousness. When we hear the word expectation, a lot of us have a negative connotation with it. This is because we are dependent on that expectation happening for our self-worth, while having contradictory expectations. In other words, we are desiring something while expecting something else. And commonly we are expecting what most people have experienced, what other people, whether it be people in our personal lives or the world, tells us that we are capable of experiencing, etc. This is what I mean by contradictory expectations, contradictory vibrational offerings. It is with a positive intention that people say, release all of your expectations, so that you do not feel any lack of worthiness of those expectations, or worthiness of being, because you become dependent for your self-worth on the coming to fruition of those expectations. And this is why people say enjoy the process. This is why people say enjoy every step of the way, so that you can positively expect what you do desire. So you do not feel dependent on those expectations happening at a certain time and in a certain way in order for you to feel good about who you are, in order for you to enjoy the moment, in order for you to enjoy your own presence. And this herein is why a lot of more ancient spiritual teachings, and even some to this day, say to release expectation and to release all desires. Again, this is with a positive intention that you do not base your self-worth off of the manifestation of these desires, and so that you allow yourself to enjoy the full extent of every single moment that you're living. But to give up on these desires as a whole, and to give up on the expectation as a whole, is not possible without becoming inauthentic to who you really are. Because who you really are is enjoying every single moment, no matter what, regardless of your enjoyment of it. And who you really are knows that it is worthy of everything that you desire. Who you really are expects everything that you desire. Spiritual teachings like that are not bad. It's just that they do not want you to wrap up your self-worth in the manifestation, so that you continue to enjoy your presence in the moment. You enjoy your time here. You can stay in alignment with your infinite potential, with the hopes that most or some of those desires come to fruition, with the hopes that you see past just the having of those desires to the actual experience of those desires. Not just the having, so that you can prove yourself, so you can show other people and appear a certain way. That is what they're really talking about by give up desire. They're not really asking you to give up desire as a whole, or any certain desire. They're asking you to release any desires rooted in how you appear to other people, rooted in what other people think of you. Please excuse the hospital that I live across the street from. Now back to having contradictory expectations. When you believe and expect reality to happen in a certain way because your mother, your friends, your lover, your family member, society, the consensus, science tells you that this is what you can expect based on statistic and based on that consensus, while also desiring to expect something other than what most people have experienced or what other people before you have experienced, you will not be able to experience the expectation of what you truly desire. But you are a creator. You came here to create. You came here to desire that which has not been desired before. You came here to experience that which has not been experienced before. I want to give word to what physicality really is. A body, a table, a plant, a monkey, an ape, a tiger, a flower, a mirror, a jacket. Yes, I'm pointing things out around my room. Are all concepts. A human is a concept. Physicality in and of itself is a concept. Let's talk about what the reality of physicality is. Everything that you perceive with any of your senses is composed of almost all empty space. And yet, here we are, experiencing physical touch, vision, hearing, taste, and smell. Why is that, if everything is composed of practically all empty space? This is because it is composed of energy, vibrating energy produced by consciousness or infinite potential in such a way that it resists the gravity of everything coming back to the source, that it can project through the electromagnetic force differing extensions of consciousness, differing ideas, thoughts manifest. This is precisely the reason why perception is reality. We must understand that there is a difference between us and other animals through the ability to be aware of ourselves as a being. Because when we allow ourselves to become present in the moment, we allow ourselves to become conscious of all of what I just said, and therefore become conscious of the fact that we are consciousness and we are infinite potential, which means that our thoughts and the way that we feel has much more effect and deliberation over the way that we experience physicality. Not only what we attract in our physical circumstances, but even what's going on within our own physical bodies. And it especially has the greatest effect on what is going on in our physical bodies. So what we think and how we feel, which are also interrelated, have the greatest effect on our physical bodies and our surroundings. That is what separates us from the animals, the beasts that surround us. This is why we are but are not animals. We are animals of a higher consciousness because we can recognize the fact that our body and a human in and of itself is just a concept. In reality, it is energy, consciousness, vibrating in such a way that it creates the appearance of a physical body. Animals, plants, minerals are all source energy as well. They are just not capable of being aware of themselves as that. Certain species on certain planets have evolved to the point that they can become self-aware. They can self-reflect. They can analyze their world around them and understand things and understand their relation to things. That is us. That is humans on this planet. Like I said, a human as a concept. You are consciousness. This bed is consciousness. It is consciousness holding itself together through the electromagnetic force in such a way that it can resist gravity, that it can resist the strong force holding its atoms together to create electromagnetic repulsion, and therefore holding its atoms together in such a way that it creates a physical extension or a physical manifestation of that energy. And this herein is why thought and emotion, which again are very interrelated, thought and emotion or perception is the basis to physicality. And we, as humans, have the most deliberate control over our physical circumstances. This even includes our weather. We collectively create our weather. We collectively create a lot of things. We collectively create something called the consensus. And this goes back to why many people decide to give up on all expectation, to give up on certain desires. Because the consensus and what they observe in their physical surroundings has more weight on their expectation than their own expectation does. And this is not to not upset oneself or get frustrated with the lacking of that desire. But when you become aware of yourself as infinite potential, when you practice through maybe meditation, silencing your mind, and releasing old experiences that tell you this has to be this way because this happened before and many other people have experienced this before, you allow yourself deliberation of your expectation. And nothing that anybody else says, does, thinks, or experiences can determine the ability for you to align your expectation with your desire. And this is the essence of creating reality. And the purpose of staying present in the moment and allowing yourself to enjoy the process and enjoy every step of the way towards what it is your desire is, every step of the way towards aligning your expectation with your desire, is so that you do not become identified with your desires coming to fruition or not. So you do not compare yourself with other people's ability to align their expectation with their desires and feel bad about yourself for it, and slow down the process of you being able to align your expectation with your desire. Once you realize that you are infinite potential and you begin practicing it, your desires may change greatly, not at all, or somewhere in the middle. Because you realize that there is no need to compare yourself with another being of infinite potential, to be better than another being of infinite potential, to be more righteous than another being of infinite potential. And you feel no need to infringe upon or manipulate the autonomy of other beings. Rather, you recognize your power to directly influence the autonomy of other beings so that you can achieve certain expectations and align certain expectations with desires without needing to manipulate their autonomy. You can influence other people's autonomy without taking their autonomy. And this is another reason why ancient spiritual teachings say to release desire. Because if you are completely identified with the concept of human, with the concept of your physical body, you do not know the power of your expectation. You can never stop expecting, and you can never stop desiring. And this is why it is not truly helpful to give up all expectations and give up all desires, only to align yourself with that infinite potential in the present moment. Because then you feel no need to infringe upon or manipulate the autonomy of other beings as a means to achieve aligning your expectation with your desire. That's really the essence of why ancient spiritual teachings say not to desire, and nowadays we say not to expect. But you cannot stop doing either, because you are a creator, but you are also the infinite potential, the pure potential that does create it. So, what we're really talking about when we're aligning our expectation with our desire is trust. Is to let go and enjoy. If your expectation is not in alignment with certain desires, let go of that desire for a little bit. Let yourself enjoy life until eventually you become inspired and receive clarity, guidance, that, hey, I am now expecting this desire to manifest, and now I can go about a process of how to do that. And this is why Abraham says, if you want something, it's better to think about what and why you want it rather than how, because how comes in the moment. And if you don't know how, focus on something else until that how comes to you, until your expectation rises to meet that desire. That is trust. We are talking about trust in this video. To sum it all up, you can never not expect. You just need to learn how to expect the things that you desire freely, because those things are inherent to you, because you are infinite potential. And if you don't allow yourself to know that, if you don't allow yourself to align with it, you cannot have those desires. And you cannot have those expectations align with those desires. So, take it easy and relax. Allow your expectation to meet your desire easily. Do not demand it of yourself, and do not demand it of other people. Do not demand it of the universe. If it doesn't feel right, maybe you don't really desire it. And maybe it's just not the time yet. You'll know. I love you.